Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are back in Brno Automotodrom and it's Masaryk Racing Circuit here in Moravia. It is the near end of this season of Formula 4 Central European Zone, the penultimate round of the championship before we go to the season finale to Austria in Salzburg Ring. So it is a trio of races awaiting us once again. And we have got the drivers lined up on the starting grid here for race number 1 in the Czech Republic. 5,403 meters, and look at the elevation. Just under 74 meters from the lowest point of the track to the highest spot on the circuit. So that just tells you how mountainous, I would even say, this track is. It's not an easy one, but it is nice and flowing, giving racing drivers so many options for racing lines, and that is going to make for great racing. My name is Pavel Fabry, I'm your commentator for the weekend, and this is the Czech driver Max Karhan, who's already scored a couple of victories this season, and he lines up on the front row of the grid, having been beaten by Kirill Kutskov by mere 57 thousandths of a second in yesterday's qualifying, so it was incredibly closely fought. Actually, the top trio pretty much separated by a quarter of a second, and it is Oscar Wirtz lining up in third, so an incredibly close qualifying. Here in Brno, and it is Oscar Wirtz still leading the championship. The young Austrian, son of former Formula 1 driver Alex Wirtz, with 204 points to his name, having scored 4 victories on the road, 2 in on the opening weekend in Hungary at Balaton Park and 2 in Slovakia. It was a couple of thirds last time out in Most, and a low-key race, number 2, which was the lowest scoring race for Oscar Wirtz from this season, which has seen him actually drop, and let's say his championship lead reduced, and it is 204 points for him. Kirill Kutskov in second with 158 points, so that is 46-point difference between the top 2 drivers. Still seemingly a lot, but given the fact that we are scoring 25 points per victory per race, no changes between the races. In each of the races you are eligible for 25 points for a race victory. That simply tells you that we still have 150 points up for grabs. So what is 46 against that? 61, that is the number of the driver, or let's say car of the driver, that seems to have run into trouble already, and that is Michalina Sabaj. Michalina Sabaj, who was supposed to line up 8th on the grid for AS Motorsport Slovenia. She has got a new teammate, and it is a girl again. It is young Australian driver Joanne Sikont, who is joining the Formula 4 field, the young Australian aspiring to be the first female single-seater driver in the highest levels of motorsport. One of her dreams is actually reaching the F1 Academy, which is the female-only single-seater championship from this season, racing solely on the Formula 1 weekends. The last round being contested 2 weeks back in Netherlands at Zandvoort, and still a couple of rounds awaiting us in Singapore and in Qatar. So that should be interesting. But it is Kirill Kutskov who scored victory in yesterday's quali, so lines up on pole position. Alongside him, Czech driver Max Karhan, who sits third in the standings, having taken 2 victories and actually gained performance in the latest 2 rounds in Slovakia and Most. So still faster and faster the Czech driver is, and he will definitely be wanting to snatch one on his home soil. He did just that with one of the best overtakes and one of the most dominant performances the last time out in Most in race number 3, with a beautiful overtake where he snatched 2 places at once pretty much and went into the race lead. So he's going to be looking to repeat the same style of racing here in Brno and score another home victory as well. Oskar Wirtz and Miroslav Mikeš on row number 2. Oskar Wirtz, the championship leader, and Mira Mikeš, one of the other Czech drivers, so one of the other local boys on the grid. Then it is Simon Schranz from Austria opening row number 3. Alongside him, Nathaniel Berraby from Switzerland. Then Joanne Sikond from Australia. Michalina Sabaj, Polish young girl, in 8th. Kornelia Olkucka, her countrywoman, so to say, in P9, from Marek Micik in P10, and Franciszek Niemiec in 11th. And we have got Michalina Sabaj returning back to the pit lane. Is there trouble, or is it just the track marshal coming quickly with the green flag? Yes, it is, because everything is now ready. The green flag waves in the air. We've got some trouble towards the back, it seems. One of the marshals signaling something to one of the drivers, but the lights are off and we are racing here in Brno. Everything is ready and we've still got a yellow flag towards the back end. At least that it seems that 1 or 2 or 3 drivers had slower getaways, one of them even standing on the grid so far. But we are racing into the first corner, and it is now even the car number 119 from Ornelia Kolkucka rejoining the race together with Franciszek Niemiec. So we did have 2 cars remaining stationary on the grid. A little bit of drama. Still, the racing drivers have to precise and perfect and improve their starting skills and the procedure itself. But look at this, it should already be Max Karhan in the race lead, the local driver. So it seems to be pretty mixed up already. We have got one of the ENZA cars leading us out into the race. Live timing currently showing nonsense, so I'm not even going to read that. But it is definitely one of the ENZA cars, and that should be Max Karhan in the regular ENZA Motorsport colours, because we are supposed to have Oskar Wirtz in different livery. And around the Kevin Schwantz corner we go. And up the hill. Kirill Kutzkov, car number 31, having started from pole, didn't really manage to hold on to that, and he's dropped down to 4th by now. So not a great getaway for Kirill Kutzkov. The Kyrgyzstan's driver, and onto the lap number 2 we go. So finally we have a chance to reassemble the correct order for the moment. Kirill Kutzkov making a move round the outside. No, that's not him. He seems to be further up the field right now. But it is Max Karhan leading with the fastest opening lap, which is logical since he's leading. Miroslav Mikeš up to 2nd, so it seems to be a Czech 1-2 at the moment. That would be great. Nathaniel Berraby has made 3 places and he's up to 3rd. Joanne Sikond up to 4th. Great stuff from the Australian driver whom I just mentioned at the start of the race. Fantastic scrap there. And it seems to be Kirill Kutzkov having another fight. But Oskar Wirtz, he's dropped 5 positions. He's down to 8th. Kirill Kutzkov, our pole sitter, also down by 5 positions, now in 6th. So Not a great start for the top two drivers in the championship, and that is giving a perfect chance to the local driver Max Karhan to snatch back some, claw back some points and actually improve his situation in the championship. This still remains very much open for Max Karhan. He made his debut last year, still remains in the Yenza Motorsport house, and he's been doing really great for the Czech Republic. And now on his home soil, this might be one of the turning points of the season for him. There he is, Max Karhan, so far dominating the proceedings. Car number 144 leading by, well, a lot. 2.4 seconds after the opening two laps. Miroslav Mikeš in second, so two Czech drivers having their 1-2. There is a fight. Kirill Kutskov has already made his way up to third. And it is Nathaniel Bereby fighting with Johan Sikont. Simon Schranz in sixth. Oscar Wirtz has made up one place and he's now seventh. Is that him making his way around the outside? And the Yenza Motorsport driver has already set the fastest lap of the race in 2:04.3, so he's much faster than everyone else around him. Ooh, nice fight, but careful. Be careful. The track is wide, but in close fights, it's very quickly too close for comfort. And Oscar Wirtz gradually reducing the loss that he gained at the start of the race. So there was trouble for the young Austrian, and the championship leader is trying to make his way back through the field. Now he should be fighting with Simon Schranz. Max Karhan completing another lap in the lead, commanding lead for the moment. And there is Kirill Kutskov reeling Miroslav Mikeš in. He is already just 0.7 of a second behind the Czech driver. 3.1 between the two Czechs up front, but then it is only 0.7 between Mikeš and Kutskov. There they are, fighting for second, with Johan Sikont in fourth. Great race, great opening race for the young Australian. Down the inside goes Kirill Kutskov and retakes second from Miroslav Mikeš. Beautiful move down the inside, pretty much textbook stuff. From the young Mafia Racing's driver. And he seems to be back on track after the terrible opening lap of the race. It's fantastic how the championship opened along the way in 2024. Because at Balaton Park it may have seemed like a done deal for Oscar Wirtz, but it definitely isn't, and we've still got the Austrian driver down in 8th, having trouble to fight his way back up the field. We've done 8 minutes of racing so far, 17 still left, and it's been a great roller coaster, not only the track itself but also the evolution of the race. Johan Sikont and Nathaniel Bereby having their fight. Around we go again. That's car number 9, car of Simon Schranz, behind Berebe. Ooh, round the outside into the first corner. Wonderful stuff for the young Austrian. Look at this. And Simon Schranz making the move stick. Is he or is he not? They are still side by side. Great action for these two drivers, and Simon Schranz on the way to make one of the overtakes of the race. Still down the inside, but Nathaniel Berebe holding on to 5th for the moment. Great fight between the two. Now Berebe slightly wider. And Simon Schranz having another look. This time around the outside. But that's the line he seems to prefer. He very, very nearly completed the move around the outside of turn number 1. And that would have been an incredible one. It already was, but in the end, the Austrian driver didn't manage to stay ahead of the young Swiss. So that great job became undone. And Max Karhan, look at that. He has created himself quite a lot of a gap, but Kirill Kutskov managing to be fractionally faster, and he's definitely getting closer. So we still have the fight for the race victory on our hands in this race. So not everything set in stone just yet for Max Karhan. Simon Schranz having another look. He's definitely showing superior performance, but look at this, Nathaniel Berebe squeezing him onto the grass. That wasn't nice. Was even very much on the edge of the rules and regulations. Simon Schranz now attempting a move down the inside. Berebe covering him off and closing the door right at him. 2 seconds between Karhan and Kutskov. Kutskov managed to be so much faster on the previous lap, but let's not run away from this fight just yet. Schranz again absolutely on the edge of the track, misses the braking spot, outbrakes himself. That was a nice attempt, but Berebe really squeezed him again onto the edge of the track, and Simon Schranz is back to 6th place. Beautiful fight between the two. This is what we love seeing. But Berebe under huge pressure. And we are still not even halfway through the race. But let's keep an eye on the fight for the race victory as well, because the situation seems to be unraveling in a rather dramatic fashion, because on the previous lap Max Karhan lost around 9/10 of a second, so he's only 2 seconds ahead of Kirill Kutskov, the pole sitter. And yes, there were less than 600ths of a second in yesterday's quali between the pair, but in today's race, Kutskov seems to be managing a greater pace by now. Let's see if Max Karhan still has some tire life to be able to react. And again, Berebe trying to squeeze Simon Schranz right on the edge of the track. He's being really aggressive in the defense. And around the final corner we go. Schranz immediately lining up for a move down the down the inside. Beautiful one. Now he's gonna have to go defensive. Past the pit straight. He only leaves the outside line for Berebe, and that's not going to be the faster one this time around either. So Simon Schranz finally making the move stick. But he really had to go clever about that and managed a great racing line out of the final corner. And that's what I said exactly in the beginning of the broadcast. This is Brno. It's got nice ebb and flow, and it is allowing for so many different racing lines. And now it is Oscar Wirtz who had dealt with Kornelia Olkucka, and now he's invited himself in and past Nathaniel Bereby. They are still fighting side by side. Bereby being very aggressive in this race. Careful! That was very tight indeed. But Oscar Wirtz staying ahead for the moment. 2.2 seconds between Karhan and Kuckov across the line on the previous lap, which means that the Czech driver, the race leader, did manage to find some response and actually extended his lead by about 0.2 of a second. And that is very important for the local driver in his quest to snatch a home victory right away at the beginning of the weekend here in Brno. He even set his personal best of 2:04.3 on the previous lap, while Kirill Kuckov did only 2:04.5. Nobody else lapping as quickly as the race leaders. And we're waiting for the pace of Oscar Wirtz, what he can do once he is out of the fights. The ENSE cars being again incredibly fast. This is your race leader Max Karhan in his home race. That is Kirill Kuckov, the fastest man from yesterday's quali. 2:05.3 for Karhan, 2:06.7 for Kuckov. That was a messy lap for the Mafia Racing's driver, and that sees Max Karhan extend his lead to about 3.5 seconds. Another fight. Whoa, careful here across the line. Car number 61, Michalina Sabai attacking Kornelia Olkucka, less than 1/10 of a second between the two girls across the line in the fight between P8 and P9. There they are. Ooh la la, Michalina Sabai having another look down the inside, but not really managing to find her way through. It wasn't even a particularly great lap by Max Karhan the last time out, but Kirill Kuckov really did a messy one, and a very slow one that saw him drop a lot and saw the gap extend by a lot between the two race leaders. So Max Karhan has a little more breathing space for himself in the decisive moments of the race with 8.5 minutes left on the clock. Great stuff here in Formula 4. Michalina Sabai having another look down the inside on Kornelia Olkucka. The two Polish drivers having a scrap of their own. Is it going to be another attempt down the inside? No, she is a little too far behind into the Kevin Schwantz corner. Dipping down away from the cameras and back into the shot. Kornelia Olkucka with full hands of work, really. Oscar Wirtz in the meantime has already managed to get past Simon Schranz. Up to 5th he goes, the championship leader, and he will be travelling the debutante Joanne Sikont in just a couple of moments, because Oscar is managing to lap way faster so far. 7.5 minutes left on the clock. Let me just check the live timing screen. What that tells me, 5.6 and 7.6, so 2 seconds between Sikont and Wirtz in 4th and 5th respectively. And we still follow the Polish fight for P8. Kornelia Olkucka defending hard from Michalina Sabai. Great stuff between the young two girls. And you just have the bird's eye view. Fantastic scrap between the two drivers. Just Just enjoy this. And the racing lines being chosen in each corner, and those tiny little attempts to just make your exit or maybe even the entry a tiny little bit faster to line yourself to a better position. And now for a move, no, too far behind yet again. Kornelia Olkucka cutting off her country, her compatriot. But things are hotting up yet again in the race lead as well. Kirill Kutskov reducing the gap to Max Karhan to 2.5 seconds. That is still not done and dusted. How about this one? Michalina Sabai down the inside on Kornelia Olkucka. Away from the cameras for the moment. Which girl is going to get back into the shot first? It is Michalina Sabai, finally making the move stick. And she is ahead of Kornelia Olkucka. Beautiful fight that kept us entertained for the last couple of laps. Ooh, and it seems to be not over yet. Kornelia Olkucka had a look down the inside. It was a little too far, but still, at least to show herself in her friend's mirrors. I am still here, you have to count with me. Ooh, but a lock-up might actually reduce her chances dramatically. One of the trackside cameras showing us a little different angle in turns number 3 and 4, as we are now dropping down the hill with just under 5 minutes left on the clock in this race. Max Karhan still leading, 2.5, 205.8 on the previous lap, 205.1 for Kirill Kutskov, as he reduced the gap to 2.5 seconds. So that is still a touching distance, basically. Or he is within a shout to actually get back into the fight for the race lead. The one that he dropped out of right at the beginning of the race with a terrible getaway. Oscar Wurz up to 5th. Is he reducing his gap to Johan Sikont? Yes, he is. On the previous lap, the young Australian did 207.6. Oscar Wurz did 205.5. And is he already past? No. Oh, and it's actually 5.5 seconds between the two. So I misread the data the last time out. That was not the gap to the race leader. Those are the intervals between the respective two drivers. So that means that Oscar Wurz is still trailing Johan Sikont by about 5.5 seconds, and that is a lot. Mind you, he is 2 seconds per lap faster, even more than that. But that's still an uphill struggle, and if he manages to catch the young Australian, it is going to be in the very last moments of this race. So still a lot to play for, still some stories to be finished in this race, with 2 minutes 50 seconds from home in race number 1 out of 3. And what a thrilling one it has been so far. Great Formula 4 race to watch on the Saturday morning here in Brno. And the gap between the race leaders has also dropped, 1.7 between them. This is not set in stone just yet, and Max Karhan has to find some answers. Otherwise, he'll have Kirill Kutskov in both of his rearview mirrors very soon indeed. There they are, making their way around the final 2 corners and back onto the start and finish straight with 2 minutes left on the clock. So this is the final lap of the race, the last one. And it is, what is it, 1.6. This time Kirill Kutskov only managed to chop off another 1/10 of a second. That wasn't very much. But he's still not giving the local driver much more breathing space. This is Miroslav Mikeš having a rather lonely race right now. So let's maybe get back to the race leading pair. That's them with 1 minute left. Let's try and stay with the race leaders. There they are, entering the stadium section of the circuit in a moment. There they are. Or there they were. And by the way, Oscar Wirtz has already reeled Johan Sikon dramatically in 1.9 between them. So P4, it's still very much on the cards for Oscar Wirtz here. And Johan Sikon can actually show us a fantastic defensive move in her first Formula 4 race of her lifetime. Those are the race leaders. Max Karhan fighting for another home victory. He's already scored 2 race victories in total this year. One was a home victory the last time out in Most. He's the last Formula 4 Central European Zone winner in this season. Is he going to begin where he left that? Yes, he is. Max Karhan wins the race number 1 in Brno. Fantastic race by the Czech driver. Dominant performance as he dealt with Kirill Kuckov right at the start. And although he saw the gap reduced to pretty much nothing, he held his nerves together and scores a momentous victory that definitely puts him back very firmly into the championship contention, with Oscar Wirtz coming across the line down in 5th, 0.4 of a second behind debuting Johan Sikon. What a race by the Australian driver. Hats off to her as well in her first ever race in the Formula 4 Central European Zone. That is a great one. We also have Kirill Kuckov in 2nd and Miroslav Mikeš completing the podium in 3rd. Simon Schranz P6 from Nathaniel Bereby in P7. Michalina Sabaj in P8 from Kornelia Olkucka and Marek Mičík, and František Němec completing the order in P11. But what a race this was. So many overtakings, so many fights. The fastest lap goes to Kirill Kuckov at 2:03.8. He was the only driver under 2 minutes and 4 seconds in this race, but it is Max Karhan taking the opportunity, and the messy opening lap of the race for Kirill Kuckov, and he is scoring a 3rd victory of the season to reduce his gap to the championship leader Oscar Wirtz. It is 25 points for Max Karhan in race number 1, 18 points for Kirill Kuckov, and only 10 points for Oscar Wirtz, so it's minus 15 for Oscar Wirtz in the championship lead against Max Karhan, and minus 8 against Kirill Kuckov. That was a messy race really from the start. We did have a very slow getaway for the pole sitter Kirill Kuckov. A couple of drivers very nearly didn't even make it off the line. And we also had Oscar Wirtz, the championship leader, dropping a lot of places right at the start. So we had 2 fight backs and many more. Max Karhan getting to Parc Fermé. What a race victory this was. After the dominant performance the last time out in Most, this was, well, yeah, less than a second from Kirill Kuckov across the line, but he seemed to have the measure of his opponent all through the race, and he managed his pace. So now he's receiving congratulations. Victory number 3 for the Czech driver, and second on his home soil. He did that for the first time last time out in Most, and now he is making the spectators here in Brno happy as well. Fantastic stuff for the local driver, who is getting closer and closer to the championship lead. It's still quite far way back, but it definitely isn't unrealistic. And this is his teammate Oscar Wirtz in the other Yenza Motorsport machine, that blue and black livery. And he will definitely have things to think about. But we are going to make a break, and we will be back very soon. Let me just tell you when. It is going to be the first race of the Renault Clio Cup at noon, so make sure that you are back for that one. For now, it is a very warm goodbye.